There lived a stunning woman named Adaobi. Adaobi was known throughout the town for her beauty, kindness, and bright smile. She lived in a small house with her mother. Life had always been hard for Adaobi and her mother. They struggled to make ends meet, selling fruits and vegetables at the market every day. One morning, something extraordinary happened. Adaobi walked into the market wearing a beautiful shiny dress that glittered in the sunlight. She wore expensive shoes and carried a big handbag that looked very expensive. Everyone in the market stopped what they were doing and started staring at her. "Isn't that Adaobi?" asked Auntie Ineka, one of the market women. "It is, but where did she get those clothes?" replied Mama Chidi, another woman in the market. Adaobi smiled and waved at everyone as she walked through the market. People started whispering and making up stories about her sudden wealth. Some said she was dating older men who gave her money and gifts. Others said she was using dark powers to get rich. A few days later, Adaobi and her mother moved into a big house, a beautiful one on the hill overlooking the town. The rumors about Adaobi's wealth grew even more. People in Kata could not understand how someone who was once poor could become so rich so quickly. One evening, Adaobi invited her friends Chidima and Ifeoma to her new house for a party. They were amazed by the beautiful decorations, delicious food, and the expensive gifts Adaobi gave them. But deep down, they were curious and wanted to know how Adaobi became so wealthy. "Adaobi, tell us the truth," said Chidima. "How did you get all this money?" "Yes, please tell us. We are your friends," added Ifeoma. Adaobi looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then she whispered, "Promise me you won't tell anyone." "We promise," said Chidima and Ifeoma. Adaobi took a deep breath and began her story. "It all started the day my father died," she said. "After the funeral, my mother and I were cleaning his room when we found a pot hidden under his bed. It was an old, dusty pot with strange carvings on it. When we opened it, we found gold coins and precious jewels inside. At first, we didn't know what to do with it, but then we decided to sell some of the jewels to get money for a better life." Chidima and Ifeoma were shocked. "So all your wealth comes from the pot you found?" asked Ifeoma. "Yes," replied Adaobi, "but there's something else you should know. The pot has magical powers. It gives us more jewels and gold coins every time we ask for them." Chidima and Ifeoma could hardly believe their ears. They were excited but also worried. "Are you sure it is safe to use the pot?" asked Chidima. "I don't know," said Adaobi, "but so far it has brought us nothing but good fortune." The news about Adaobi's secret soon spread throughout the town, even though Chidima and Ifeoma had promised not to tell anyone. People started to become jealous and envious of Adaobi's wealth. Some even tried to find the pot and steal it from her. One night, while everyone was asleep, a group of thieves broke into Adaobi's house. They searched everywhere for the magical pot but couldn't find it. Adaobi had hidden it in a very secret place that only she and her mother knew about. The thieves left empty-handed, but the incident made Adaobi realize that her wealth might bring more trouble than happiness. As time went by, Adaobi's wealth continued to grow. She opened a big shop in the market, bought a car, and traveled to different parts of the country. But deep down, she felt something was missing. She missed the simple life she had with her mother and the true friendships she once enjoyed. A wise old woman named Mama Ebele came to visit Adaobi. Mama Ebele was known for her wisdom and knowledge of ancient traditions. She had heard about Adaobi's sudden wealth and wanted to offer her advice. Adaobi, my dear, I have heard many stories about your wealth and the magical pot, said Mama Ebele. But remember, true happiness does not come from riches alone. It comes from love, kindness, and the joy of helping others. Adaobi listened carefully to Mama Ebele's words. She realized that she had been so focused on her wealth that she had forgotten the things that truly mattered in life. Thank you, Mama Ebele, said Adaobi. I will remember your wise words. From that day on, Adaobi decided to use her wealth to help others. She built a school for the children in Kata, provided food and clothing for the poor, and supported local businesses. The people of Kata began to see Adaobi in a good and a new light. They admired her generosity and kindness and were grateful for her help. However, the mystery of the magical pot still hung over Adaobi's life. She often wondered if the pot's powers would one day come to an end or if there were consequences she had yet to face. One evening, while Adaobi was sitting in her garden, she heard a soft voice calling her name. She turned around and saw a tall, elderly man with a long white beard. He wore a flowing robe and had a kind smile on his face. "Who are you?" asked Adaobi. "I am the guardian of the magical pot," replied the old man. "I have come to warn you about its powers." Adaobi was surprised. "What do you mean?" "The pot you found under your father's bed is not just an ordinary pot," said the old man. "It has ancient powers that come with great responsibility. If used wisely, it can bring prosperity and happiness. But if misused, it can bring misfortune and sorrow." Adaobi felt a chill run down her spine. "I have tried to use the pot for good," she said. "I have helped many people with its riches." The old man nodded. "That is true, but you must be careful. The pot's powers are not limitless. If you become too greedy or careless, you may lose everything." Adaobi thanked the old man for this warning and promised to use the pot wisely. She knew she had to be careful and not let her newfound wealth consume her. As the days passed, Adaobi continued to help the people of Kata. She remained humble and generous, always remembering the old man's warning. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. One stormy night, a thunderclap shook Adaobi's house. She woke up to find the pot glowing brightly in the corner of her room. She approached it cautiously and saw that it was overflowing with gold coins and jewels. Adaobi knew something was wrong. The pot had never behaved this way before. She remembered the old man's warning and decided to seek help. The next morning, she went to the forest. She called out his name, hoping he would appear. After a few moments, the old man emerged from the shadows. "Guardian, the pot is behaving strangely," said Adaobi. "It is overflowing with riches and I fear something bad is about to happen." The old man looked at Adaobi with a serious expression. The pot is reacting to your desires, he said. You have been using its powers wisely, but there is still a part of you that craves more wealth. You must let go of your greed and learn to be content with what you have. Adaobi nodded. She understood that she had to change her ways and focus on the things that truly mattered. She thanked the old man and returned home. From that day on, Adaobi decided to live a simpler life. She continued to help the people of Kata, but no longer relied on the pot for her wealth. She donated most of her riches to charity and used the remaining money to support her family and friends. Adaobi felt a sense of peace and contentment she had never experienced before. She realized that true happiness came from the love and support of those around her, not the riches she possessed. As Adaobi embraced her new way of life, she found herself more connected with the people of Kata than ever before. Her acts of kindness and generosity were celebrated, and she felt fulfilled in a way that riches alone could never provide. But the lingering mystery of the magical pot still haunted her dreams. One morning, as Adaobi was tending to her garden, a young boy named Emeka came running up the hill to her house. He was out of breath and had a look of urgency on his face. Adaobi, Adaobi, Emeka shouted. You must come quickly. There is trouble in the town square. Adaobi hurried down the hill with Emeka. When they arrived, they found a crowd gathered around a woman who was crying and pleading for help. It was her mother, Adaobi's mother. What happened, Mama? Adaobi asked, rushing to her mother's side. Adaobi, it's terrible. Someone has stolen all the money from our shop. We have nothing left. Adaobi's heart sank. Despite her efforts to live a simpler life, it seemed that misfortune had found its way to her family once again. She comforted her mother and reassured her that they would find a way to recover from this setback. Later that evening, as Adaobi sat alone in her room, the old man's words echoed in her mind. If misused, it can bring misfortune and sorrow. She realized that her past actions, even though well-intentioned, had consequences that were now coming to light. Determined to set things right, Adaobi decided to consult the magical pot one last time. She retrieved it from its hiding place and held it in her hands. The pot felt heavier than ever, and its carvings seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. Please, guardian of the pot, Adaobi whispered, show me how to use its powers wisely and help my family and town without bringing further harm. Please, guardian of the pot, Adaobi whispered, show me how to use its powers wisely and help my family and town without bringing further harm. As if in response, the pot began to hum softly, and a vision appeared before Adaobi's eyes. She saw a vast field filled with crops, a thriving marketplace, and smiling faces of the people in Kata. The vision showed her a future where the town was prosperous and happy, but the wealth did not come from the pot. It came from hard work, cooperation, and mutual support. Adaobi understood the message. She knew that truly the lasting wealth could only come from the collective efforts of the community. Inspired by the vision, she decided to take action. The next day, Adaobi called a meeting in the town square. She shared her vision with the people of Kata and proposed a plan to rebuild their town together. She suggested that they start a cooperative farm where everyone could contribute their skills and resources. The farm would provide food for the entire town and create a surplus that could be sold at the market. The people of Qatar were excited by Adaobi's idea and agreed to work together. They pooled their resources, gathered seeds and tools, and began to clear the land for the cooperative farm. Everyone had a role to play, from planting and watering the crops to harvesting and selling the produce. As the weeks passed, the farm began to flourish. The once barren fields were now green and vibrant, filled with rows of healthy crops. The marketplace buzzed with activity, and the people of Qatar enjoyed the fruits of their labor. The town was thriving, and Adaobi felt a deep sense of satisfaction knowing that she had played a part in bringing her community together. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, Adaobi stood at the edge of the farm, watching the golden fields sway in the breeze. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see the old man with the white beard. "You have done well, Adaobi," the old man said with a smile. "You have learned that true wealth comes from the heart and the hands of those who work together." Adaobi nodded, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. "Thank you, guardian," she said. "I will always remember your wisdom." The old man nodded and disappeared into the fading light, leaving Adaobi with a heart full of gratitude and hope. Years went by, and the cooperative farm continued to prosper. Adaobi became a respected leader in the community, known for her wisdom and kindness. The magical pot remained hidden away, a reminder of the lessons she had learned. Adaobi knew that its powers were not to be used lightly and that true wealth would only be achieved through hard work, unity, and love. Years passed, and Adaobi's life was filled with the joys and challenges of leading her community. The cooperative farm thrived, and the people of Qatar enjoyed a prosperity that came from their collective efforts. Adaobi remained a respected and beloved figure in the town, always guiding and supporting her fellow townspeople. One fateful day, however, a series of unusual events began to unfold. The sky turned a strange shade of grey and an eerie silence fell over Qatar. Adaobi felt a familiar yet unsettling presence and knew that something significant was about to happen. That evening, as Adaobi was preparing for bed, she heard a soft voice calling her name. She turned and saw the old man with a white beard standing at the foot of her bed. "Guardian," Adaobi said, "what brings you here tonight?" The old man looked at Adaobi with a grave expression. "Adaobi, the time has come for the magical pot to return to its rightful place. It has served its purpose, and its powers are no longer needed in this world." Adaobi was sad, but also felt a sense of acceptance. She had relied on the pot's magic to bring prosperity to her town, but she had also learned that true wealth came from the unity and hard work of her community. "I understand," Adaobi said, "but how will I explain this to the people of Qatar?" The old man smiled gently. "You have taught them well, Adaobi. They have learned to rely on each other and their own efforts. The pot was merely a tool to guide you all towards this realization." With a wave of his hand, the old man made the pot glow brightly. It floated into the air, surrounded by a shimmering light. Adaobi watched as the pot slowly began to disappear, its magic essence returning to the universe. As the pot vanished, Adaobi felt a sense of loss, but also a deep peace. She knew that the pot had served its purpose, and she was grateful for the lesson it had brought into her life. The next morning, Adaobi gathered the people of Qatar. She explained what had happened and reassured them that their prosperity did not depend on the pot's magic but on their continued hard work and unity. The people listened and nodded in agreement. They had come to trust Adaobi's wisdom and knew that they were capable of achieving great things together. Life in Qatar continued to flourish. The cooperative farm grew even more productive. Adaobi remained a guiding light, always ready to lend a helping hand or a kind word.